people sometimes ask, and they want to know, so what makes what you do at the Live Well Clinic different than what I could get at, my family doctor, or what I can read online? What is it that you do specifically, and why should I be interested? Well, this is what I want to explain a little bit and kind of go through a couple scenarios to show that there is a difference between how functional medicine doctors look at your health compared to other means. And I wrote some stuff up here to kind of go over that, and I'll go through these. So first of all, let's think about, let's give you a case study or an example. Let's say there's a woman, she's 35 years old, she has brain fatigue, brain fog, constipation, weight gain or inability to lose weight, those kind of things that are pretty typical among women. So let's go through that. So typically when they go through a traditional medicine approach, the testing usually becomes, what's your symptoms? We might run a few lab markers to figure things out. Like let's see some basic thyroid markers. Let's see if you're anemic, and nothing's talked about diet, nothing's talked about lifestyle. And if those markers come back normal, then you're deemed normal. It's normal for you, or you're getting older, or you have 5 kids at home, no wonder you're tired. Those kind of explanations. Sometimes women may be given antidepressant medicines, because they're depressed because they're tired. So that's traditional medicine, and this is why I call it reactive. It's reactive medicine. I have these symptoms, therefore I react by giving you something to counteract those symptoms. So let's look at another approach that's pretty popular right now, and this is the bioidentical hormone, or even the anti-aging world, and I call it green medicine. So take the same symptoms, and that our woman goes into the clinic who does this mode of thinking. It's more natural, or quote alternative, and they may do some additional testing, but they may be more hormone focused. Let's look at your estrogen levels, your testosterone levels. Maybe let's look at your thyroid a little bit deeper. So the testing goes a little bit more in depth, but usually the recommendations come back to saying, well, your hormones are off, your estrogen's low, or your testosterone is too high, your progesterone's too low. So we're going to custom make you some hormones to counteract these symptoms that are going on. And it may sound good, and it may actually work for a while. That's the thing; it does work for a while. And some women need this. I'm not talking bad about hormones or anything, because they can be useful. But at the same time, I think it doesn't answer the question, what is really going on that is actually causing these symptoms? Yes, hormones are low. I ask women this sometimes. I know your hormones are low, but why? What's going on? Are you aging too fast? You're 35. Come on. What else is going on? So I call this green medicine because it's the same kind of thing. Hey, I have high cholesterol. Well, reactively, we'd give you a statin medication to block your cholesterol to make it low. Or I have high cholesterol, we're going to give you fish oil, or we're going to give you garlic, and hopefully that works. Using an herb or vitamin in place of medicine, and hopefully that will work. Well, biochemistry doesn't work that way. Natural things don't have the same mechanisms as drugs. Drugs are powerful and they work well, but nutritional things don't really work the same way. So you can't expect to take bottles of natural vitamins, herbs, and expect a good outcome, because even though it's not maybe hurting you, it's not having the same response as would, say, a medicine. So that's that scenario. There may be some relief of symptoms. I think it's a better response than this way, because we may actually be making some progress. But usually these people, the woman in our case, in this scenario, starts to kind of plateau when it comes to symptoms. feeling good for a while, and then things kind of slow down and get worse. Functional medicine approach. And this is where things are different. I labeled this root cause medicine because that's what it is. We are trying to get to the root cause of why you would have these symptoms or disease. So take our example with this woman who's having the weight gain, maybe the constipation, maybe the brain fog and fatigue, just not feeling herself. We would start to say, well, why is this the case? Let's back up. What is your lifestyle like? How do you sleep? What's your diet like? Did you have medical symptoms in the past? How many children do you have? Have you had any traumatic surgeries or anything? So you have all these things that are adding up that give us a story that says, okay, you started having some of these symptoms down here, down the road, years ago, and they're starting to add up to where you're at now. This is all relevant. It's not just you woke up and you have these symptoms. It's a accumulation of events that's come up to now. So this is why I call this proactive, meaning we're trying to be proactive in preventing future problems, but also getting to the root cause. And this is why functional medicine shines, and this is why we look at a lot of blood work in our clinic. People sometimes say, why do you do so much blood work? First of all, with all the advanced different testing and things out there, why do you go back to these old school blood testing? What's the big deal? Well, medically, blood tests are used basically to look for disease. When you have organ dysfunction, 60, 70, 80% dysfunction, you start to see ranges. You start to see those numbers on your labs that say high, out of range, or low, meaning that this function is not working right. For instance, let's take the TSH, thyroid level. Some people have been told their TSH is too high. Medically, they'd say there's a thyroid problem. There's obviously a thyroid dysfunction. Here's some medicine to treat your thyroid. And the numbers come down, and we think all is well. Or from this perspective, we say, here's a natural thyroid medicine to treat you the same way. And it may work, it may not. We have to look at the evidence and look at the labs. But from a functional medicine perspective, we look back and we say, well, why is the thyroid markers high to begin with in the first place? Is there something wrong with someone's adrenal glands? Do they have a poor diet? Do they have immune system problems? Do they have other kinds of stresses that are causing the thyroid to not work well? So you can see it's more than just saying, my number's off, I need a pill. So that's where, again, functional medicine shines. So to look at blood work, we're looking at how your body is not necessarily losing organ function. We're looking at subtle trends in what your body is doing from a nutritional perspective. You can gain so much information about what your body is doing and where it's headed. It's like looking in a mirror. Wow, my hair's a mess. I didn't know that unless I looked at it. If I walk outside, I'm going to get laughed at. Great, let's be proactive about that. Let's look at your lab, what your body is saying to us, to basically say this is where you're going, or this is where you've been. And while we're using different therapies, modalities in our office, we use that same blood work, to see, are we making progress? People make the mistake to say, well, why are we doing the same blood work all the time? I should be, looking bad here, and then we do some therapies, and then we look good. So we're done. Well, your body goes through fluctuations and changes all through life, and it's reacting to how your body is responding to stress, to diet, to blood sugar, age, and it's never going to be good. It's never going to be, it's never going to be perfect. It gives us an indication and clues as to where else we need to look to make those tweaks and changes the best that we can. So to kind of visualize, show you that, I showed you TSH medically. Well, let's say there's a low level here of 0.35, and medicine says, well, if you get to be 5, you're normal. So the same woman would come in and look at their labs and say, oh, I'm a 4.5. Oh, well, you're normal, because medically they say you fit into that normal range. Functional medicine would say you need to be between this, 1.8 and 3. Well, you can see the 4.5 is out of range. So where medicine says you're fine, you're normal, we can get clues and say, aha, medically you're fine, but you're starting to get out of range nutritionally. What else is going on? So that's why we look at labs the way we do. And that's why we look at so many of them. Because to just look at your cholesterol, and if it's out of range, it doesn't tell us, well, how does that relate to your thyroid? How does it relate to your anemia levels? How does it relate to your immune system? How does it relate to your GI tract? How does it relate to your liver? There's so many other factors. That's why we gotta look at them all. We are a unique working being with so many parts. And if one is off, so goes the rest of them. And to just pinpoint you into one area is not right. It's not correct. And we want to put you and evaluate you from a functional medicine perspective. So this is why we look at labs the way we do. And it's not just once a year. We need to look at you often, because as you change diet, as you change stresses in your life, as you change situations and blood sugar and sleep patterns, everything else will shift and change. Therefore, that dictates what you do about that. What specific maybe vitamins do I use? What specific maybe sleep patterns do I need to change? And you can gain all this information. It's like having a personal coach, but your body is telling you where to go. So hopefully that describes the difference between more traditional medicine and more of this green medicine approach, and then the true functional medicines approach. You know, the Livewell Clinic, we specialize in root cause medicine, and we work to be proactive into preventing disease and helping people get out of trouble. So hopefully that explanation helps you. And if there's any questions, please send them to our office and ask of us. We'd be happy to help you. Thank you.